I want to talk about some of the better ideas in terms of helping you navigate a midlife crisis. So we'll start off with the very first one, which comes down to self-reflection. Often what happens is a midlife crisis is really asking us to change something, right? And we're so busy in our lives with our jobs and our families and the comings and the goings and everything, we don't sit down and spend a little bit of time with ourselves, maybe in terms of journaling, maybe talking to a friend or somebody, so that we can actually figure out, okay, what is this change that's really wanting to come forth in my life? And so the first thing that I would say to do is give yourself permission to take some time and do some self-reflection to see if you can't figure out, okay, now I know what this thing is wanting me to do. The second thing that I would suggest doing is sitting down and making a list of goals. I know. It sounds boring. It doesn't sound like a lot of fun. But if you're wanting to change something in your life and you don't have a roadmap and you have no idea of how you're going to do it, chances are you won't. And so that's where it makes a whole lot of sense just to spend a little bit of time kind of coming up with a game plan. Okay, I'm wanting to move from Grand Rapids, Michigan to San Diego. When do I want to do it? What is that going to look like? What is it going to take for me to do it? All those kinds of things, right? So again, sitting down and setting some SMART goals so that you can implement the change that you're wanting to make. Now that you understand, okay, this is what it feels like. This is a change I need to make. Now let's sit down and make some goals. Probably the most important thing is the third thing, and this is where I think people get lost, is set small goals. So in other words, when you start this process of becoming the new you, start off with small baby steps, one at a time. Because again, remember, this change that is coming forth in your life is asking you to be a little bit of a different person, in some cases, a big different person. And often those changes just take time. And if we would just be patient with ourselves and allow ourselves just to take one step at a time, it'll go a lot smoother and it'll go a lot faster. I've seen the other side of it where people put all of this time and effort to make this change, and they make the change for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and then they just quit doing it. In my own personal belief, and what I know from a neuroscience standpoint, is that unless you actually spend the time and create the habit of whatever the new change is, that it's probably not going to stick around for very long. I think the greatest example that we see this happen every single year, thousands and thousands and thousands of times, and I'm sure some of you can relate to this, is when all of a sudden you say, I'm going to go on a diet and lose 25 pounds. And then what happens? Your sheer willpower will carry you through that. But ultimately what winds up happening is within a very short amount of time, you actually wind up putting the weight back on. So I would much rather see somebody take a slow approach to making the change, maybe the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, versus sitting down and say, okay, I'm going to knock this out in the next 30 days. That rarely works. And even if it works, it generally doesn't stick. The fourth thing that I would strongly suggest that you do is to get some support. For example, if somebody's wanting to lose some weight, my suggestion is, hey, why don't you join a group, whether it's at the gym or Weight Watchers or something else like that? Because often what happens is when it's time to go to the gym or it's time to go work out or whatever, you're not going to feel like doing that. But when you've got the support and you've got people that are doing it with you, the chances of success percentage-wise goes up astronomically when you've got support. Somebody is there, a partner, an accountability person, or whatever. It's just extremely helpful to get that additional support. So don't hesitate to reach out and get some support. And then the very last thing is pretty simple. As you start to make these changes in your life, you're going to have to adjust certain things. And that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong or you screwed something up. Actually, just the opposite is the case. You just need to give yourself the time and be patient and then make whatever adjustments that you need to make so that this change, going from what you once were to now what this new version of you is, it's just going to take some adjustments. And so patience is a really, really good virtue to have as you go through this change. Anyways, I hope these tips have helped you. If you would like some additional support, don't hesitate to reach out. Go to the website below and check out the copy of the book that's called Navigating Your Midlife Crisis. I'm sure you will find that to be very, very helpful. Take care. Have a great day.